Welcome to LabCast, a podcast about the medical laboratory science profession, brought to you by MedLab Convo. To get notified once we drop an episode, you can do well to subscribe to all our social media platforms at MedLab Convo. For questions, feedbacks, and shout-outs, you can do well to send a mail to at medlabconvolabcast@gmail.com. Thank you for listening.
There's a pride that comes with being a medical laboratory scientist. We literally pride ourselves as the bedrock of modern medicine. Ours is a profession that has to do with precision, accuracy, and of course, we play a very important role in patient care. But beyond this glamorous part, there are everyday realities that we don't even talk about. While we were preparing for our first LabCast episode for 226, we asked people what they wish they knew about medical laboratory science as students. And so you won't believe that most of the comments were hinged on the fact that people felt that medical lab science is not as profitable as one would assume it is. In fact, one person said, this is not a profession that you can afford a house in Banana Island with. You literally cannot even buy unlimited data. I mean, it is funny thinking about it now, but it made us to think about how we could be romanticizing suffering in the lab. And that is what this podcast episode is about. So are we really romanticizing suffering in the lab? When does passion become exploitation? That's basically what we'll be talking about in this LabCast episode. So welcome to yet another LabCast episode, and this is our first video podcast. So yes, if you're not here, you're missing out on a lot. I am your host, Nmesoma, and of course I have my co-host here with me.
I am Chinelo and Mudiaga. It's finally time to put a face to the name, right? And today we have a very special guest in the house. Our guest is one who has been making waves both in the business and in the healthcare industry. He's a healthcare business and operations leader with more than 16 years of experience driving sustainable growth, operational excellence, and quality performance across healthcare settings. With global experience, he specializes in business development, process improvements, and quality systems. And beyond that, he has supported organizations in achieving profitability, efficiency, accreditation, and scalable high-performing operations. Today, our special guest will be helping us unpack a very real conversation which the host earlier mentioned. That is, passion is not a salary. Are we romanticizing suffering in the lab? He's going to be sharing his insights, his experiences, and what this topic really means for professionals in the lab. So please welcome Dr. Aliu Israel. You're highly welcome, sir. We're happy to have you.
Thank you for having me on this platform.
Thank you, sir.
To share my knowledge with everyone, with the hosts, and with the men and the women behind this great podcast. Well done and well work.
Thank you,
Thank you, sir. So, sir, I want to start by asking, you are a business expert and an entrepreneur. Was there any point in your career where you felt like this was not what I signed up for?
Okay, first and foremost, where there is knowledge, there is light. And when you have an understanding about a thing, you become outstanding in it. So knowledge brings light, understanding makes you outstanding in any subject matter. So it is not a function of the profession you are, it's a function of what you do with the profession you are. Every profession is resourceful. Every profession is blessed, having opportunities. And that's why when you do things like SWOT analysis, you see the strengths, the weakness, the opportunities, and the threats. So every business, every profession has their strengths. They have the weakness, they have the opportunities, and they have their threats. So and even as an individual, so if you understand this, then you begin to take advantage of the opportunities. Once you begin to take advantage of the opportunities, definitely you begin to make the most of it. So there was a time where I had little knowledge about the profession, most especially at my 100 level. But as time goes on, I begin to make research, I begin to ask questions, I begin to learn, I begin to do a lot of things. And after my school, I did my internship. So I started seeing more opportunities. Then, even when I came to the business world, I started seeing a lot of opportunities. So there was a time, like just like what you were saying, someone was asking you, is this the kind of profession you need to do to buy house in Banana Island? I've once asked that question to myself and to my colleagues. So is this what we are going to be doing to get house in Mitama, to get house in all this? Yes, because when you have limited knowledge about a thing, then you are short-sighted about it. But let me tell you the truth. Every profession has the professional practice and has the business of the profession. So you can be a lawyer and be a judge and be a lawyer. But by the time you shift to the business of legal, then the resources begin. So we should learn to know that there's difference between the practice and the business of the practice. So the business of the practice is actually lucrative. Even the practice itself is lucrative. So, but you need to understand that healthcare, first and foremost, is not a call to make money. It's a call to serve. You get it? So you must have that. So that must be the foundation first. Because if you don't get that foundation, then you can do a whole lot of things just to make money. But if you understand that you are a professional, and a professional is not someone who studied professional course. A professional is someone who is able to exhibit quality and excellence in what he or she do. So you understand first that you are called to be a professional. Then in the midst of being a professional, then you can decide to explore a whole lot of opportunities. So exploring your opportunities where the money comes. Now, lastly, in this profession, not everyone is suffering. A lot of people are doing well and doing good. So don't think everybody is suffering, but you can decide, just like any other profession, you can decide to suffer if you don't understand what it entails. Every dummy can succeed if he or she knows what it takes to succeed. So it's not about the profession, it's about you in the profession. Are you able to see the opportunities? Are you able to take the opportunities? Are you able to learn? As I used to tell my students, when you learn well, you do well. When you learn well, you earn well. But if you don't want to increase your capacity to do more, to do well, then you'll be thinking that it's not actually the profession that is poor, but it's you that is poor who is in the profession. I hope that answers your question.
Very well, sir. I'm still trying to, process some of the things that you said. But so I want to ask, realistically, for a profession like ours that demands long working hours and effort, do you think passion is enough to sustain a career like ours? Because you said it's not. First, we are called to serve, so it's not about the money.
Yes. So the question is, do I think passion is enough? Passion is never enough in anything. No matter what, even gifts. Have read books titled "Talent is Not Enough"? So passions are never enough. Or talent is never enough. So you must combine it with a whole lot of things. Now, for someone who works between 8 to 5 or the kind of work we do. Now, there's some stage you get to, you need to make those sacrifices to learn more, to do well. But as you grow, you begin to diversify. Now, let me tell you, the profession, in fact, I answered this question in one of the program I went to among interns that were just living life after internship. I answered it, and that was the way I said. So as you grow in the career, in the profession, you will begin to diversify. So medical lab science is one of the most diversified professions, but yet we are one of the most undiversified. I used to have a program that I do. I call it career diversification or career growth. for medical laboratory professionals. And when I begin to teach my students, you see that there are so many things you can do as a medical lab scientist. So practicing is not only those who are on the bench. The fact that you are on the bench you are not on the bench does not mean that you are not practicing. So passion is not enough, talent is not enough, gift is not enough, but you have to combine it with a whole lot of factors. Some of the factors include: one, networking, personal development, career progression, collaboration, investment, opportunities, career diversification. A whole lot. So passion is not only enough. You can be passionate about a thing, and when you don't know how to do it, you hit the brick and end up in frustration. So your passion becomes anger. You are angry about your passion. Why? So passion is never enough. Talent is never enough. Because sometimes you can be passionate in the wrong direction. Just say, for example, now if I'm driving, let's say I'm driving from Lagos to Abuja. Let's say from Abuja to Lagos, and I decide to take a particular route, or I decide to go towards Kano Road. No matter how passionate I am in that journey, if I'm not following the right path, it will never lead me to the right destination. True or true? So it will take a U-turn, it will take wisdom, it will take knowledge for me to know that, I'm not in the right path, though I'm passionate about what I'm doing. So make a U-turn to face the right direction, to be able to get to the right direction. So no matter how passionate you are about it, you must be passionate in the right sense, you must be passionate in the right direction. And there will be a time that you need to involve. There will be a time that you need to diversify. There will be a time you need to collaborate. There will be a lot of time. But if you're just putting your head straight on the bench, definitely you won't make the most of the profession. The profession is so blessed. I can repeat it and say it again. So blessed, so resourceful. You can't be a medical scientist and not able to work in any place. You can, if you understand the profession and you are able to explore it, you can't be a medical lab scientist and not able to work in any place. I've taken different career opportunities, from marketing to business development, healthcare, QMS, laboratory, a lot of things. And I've also raised people in many directions, including bioengineering, a lot of things, public health. There are so many opportunities. So until we begin to understand that the profession is not as stereotyped as we think, they will begin to make the most of the opportunity. We'll begin to explore new opportunities. Definitely, we will not make the most of it. So passion is not enough. Talent is not enough. It's what will be enough. It's a collaboration of a whole lot of inputs, a whole lot of things to get to the desired goal. I hope that makes sense to you.
Yes, sir. That makes a whole lot of sense. Thank you very much. You said you made us know that passion is not enough. There's always a need to diversify, there's a need to evolve, and then there are many areas to the medical laboratory science, such as bioengineering, operations, and others that you mentioned. Okay, but for someone who decides to remain on the bench, and then there is this saying that we are called to save we are called to save lives. It's our calling, and like you said, we are called to serve. Do you think this has made difficult working conditions normal in the lab? Because then you see situations like overtime, people being paid in amounts that are not equal to their skills, that are lower than their skills. Do you think this whole being called to serve has led to difficult working conditions in the medical laboratory science field?
Working condition is different from call to serve. Working conditions in any organization depends on, first and foremost, the management, the structures, the organogram, and the opportunities. So these are things that determine working environment. So it has nothing to do with passion. So if someone was working in the government sector, let's say in Nigeria, it's different from someone who is working in a private. It's different from someone who is working in an NGO. Now the difference between it, you can be doing the same thing, but under different working environments, under different terms and references, under different organs, under different management system, under different management structures. So all these things are things that defines the working environment, the schemes of services, like for government, the management commitments, the organization structures and necessary. All these things are what defines the work environment. So you can find yourself in a place whereby the work environment, the culture of or the organogram favors a career progression. I work in a place, and immediately I got there, I saw that there was no career progression here. So in 4 months, I resigned. As at 5th month, they were begging me to stay. I stayed and I still spent some years there. But I knew clearly that my opportunities here are limited. Even though it was limited, I still had the opportunity to scale some heights in that organization, but I know that definitely the opportunities are limited. And secondly, it has to do with the individual too. Some of us, we take everything just because we want to work. No, you must learn to be a professional. You must learn to say no. I've rejected monies on the tables, up to 7-digit salary. Like on the table, I told them no, because this work environment is not. Yeah. I work in an organization somewhere sometime. It's a foreign-based organization. And I discovered that I was one of the highest paid in Nigeria in that organization. But do you know that I didn't stay there long? Why? Because everything is all about money. You must understand a whole lot of things that I see myself as a project. I see myself as not just as a project, I see myself as a brand. So when you see yourself as a brand, you won't fall for everything. But when you just think that it's just about you, just about getting salary, and sometimes I've joined organizations that even pay me less because I know that joining this organization will afford me the opportunity to grow. So this has to call for mentorship, has to call for understanding, because some person just take some job, just because no, you don't just. There is no way that there's no place that is perfect. But when you discover that you are in the wrong place, the best thing is to exit. But some of us are afraid. Oh, where will I get the next job? Okay, what opportunity comes next? What will I do? If you know who you are and you are developing yourself, the opportunities that you are running after, they will begin to run after you. There are people in the profession that they are highly sought after. They are highly sought after. So it's for you to come up, for you to grow yourself, for you to grow that capacity where you can be able to define some things. I've gone to some place, I've worked in a place before, that everybody, the highest medical scientist in the organization, was not even the management board meetings. They have removed him from the management meeting and told him that, and said because he's not relevant to the organization. When I came, I restored things, position things. So sometimes we need people who understand what they are doing. Even from the way you talk, from the way you dress, from the way you act, from the way you present yourself, we change a whole lot about you. So that's why we have to change the narrative. So when I got there, I changed the narrative. I didn't look like the conventional lab scientist they used to know. Someone with one flattered coat, labbered shirts, on squeeze, and like looking as if you're in the back of the bonnet. No, when I dress to the work, I dress in my 3-piece suit. By the time I'm coming, like you know that I'm not coming to play. Even my appearance, you know that we tell you that I mean business. They're not to talk about when you now hear the content of my words. Then when you are not hearing about the opportunities I bring on board, on the table. First, some of us, we are not just bringing opportunity to the table, we are the table ourselves. So that means if we are not there, there is no table at all. So these things, so we don't just change narrative by wishing. By saying, okay, this is it. You have to be conscious about making that desired change. And when I got there, I did a lot as I could do. And when I left, until today, the gap is still there. So that's it. You can't give what you don't have. So what you have is what you are going to give. I don't know if that makes sense to you and if that's well understood.
It makes a lot of sense, sir. Thank you very much for sharing that. But while you were speaking, I thought to also ask you, when it comes to early career researchers who are, still trying to navigate the medical laboratory science space, how can they look out for the red flags? You mentioned some organizations that you've worked with, but due to the lack of career progression or probably the toxicity in the space, you did not want to remain there for long. It might not be easy for an earlier career scientist to make such decisions, but what would you advise such a person to look out for so that they don't get exploited?
So the question is that life itself is never easy. Nothing is easy in this life. If you are looking, some of those decisions I made there, I made them at the early stage of my career, and I'm still making it every day. So life will always present you with options, with choices. So what you choose determines the outcome. So first and foremost, you need to make up your mind that you need to operate on a particular standard, on a particular level. So if you don't make up your mind on it, you will fall for anything. That is. So it's first not an outward thing, it's first an inward thing. So the question is that, have you reinvented yourself? Who are you? What brand do you stand for? Like personally, I stand for quality and I stand for excellence. Everywhere I've been to, you must see that touch of quality and that touch of excellence. So when I come to a place and I'm seeing quackery, I'm seeing unprofessionalism, I'm seeing a whole lot of things, I just know that this is not the right place for me to be. And secondly, you may not be able to see everything. That's why you also need mentors. You need to talk to someone who have been ahead of you, who understand these things. They can help you to navigate, they can help you to guide, they can help you to lead, they will teach. They will show you that this is what to do, this is not what to do. And so some of the red flags is first and foremost when you get to a place and there's no quality. I'm not just talking about quality management system. There's no excellence, there's no quality. You see, they like to cut corners. They like to do anything just to make money. When you remain in such a place for long, you will be conformed. You will be conformed to that attitude. It's because a lot of the jobs and a lot of things we do is the fun part of our career, the fun part of our makeup. So when you go to a place and there's no quality, there's no excellence, you always operate as a mediocre. Definitely, just give yourself time. You're going to condescend. You're going to conform to that standard. So first, one of the red flags is low quality, no quality, poor excellence, people compromising, poor work environment. You see, you work in a place and they talk to you anyhow. I want to work in a place, so I'm trying to say this. Maybe they can hear me. So I was one of the team lead there. I traveled and I came back. And by the time I came back, the owner was talking anyhow. And the next thing he told me to go and carry broom to start sweeping the floor. I'm like, are you okay? Like Shay Kushi, are you sure you are good? That was the last day. Today I've never stepped into that facility. And I collected my money that was outstanding. You can't try that. You can't try that trash with me. So the way, if it's one person, they will think because of the job of tomorrow, they'll go and sweep, go and clean. That's not your job. Not bad, but is that your job? That's not your job. You should employ a cleaner for that. So when you compromise the standard, when you compromise, at the end of the day, you belittle yourself. So whenever I find myself, when you find yourself in a place of low quality, no excellence, no structure, no system, and you're not willing to learn, you're not willing to change, then you just know that these are part of the red flags. How can I be working in a place and 3 months you are not paid me and I'm still coming to work? Come on, what are you doing? And you say there is no job. It's you that is jobless. That's why you're going to a job for 3 months, they have not paid you. And you cannot even confront them and say, what's happening? And yet you are seeing patients, you are doing things, not as if there is no job, not as if there is no work. No. You can't do that. In fact, the way you even look at me, you know that you can't try this with him. So that's it. So present yourself the way you want to be addressed, the way you want to be treated. People will always conform to your standard when you don't drop your standard for them. I hope that makes sense.
Yes, sir. That makes a whole lot of sense. I would like us to paint a scenario though, because we cannot deny the fact that some people are already in these working conditions, and some of them are just coming into these establishments as new staff. And most of the time, in most Nigerian, let me not say most Nigerian, some Nigerian establishments, we know that as a new staff, you are the errand person. So you said something about confronting. Okay, so let us say there's a person, a new staff who comes into an establishment. How does that person speak up for him or herself when faced with toxicity without appearing rude, without appearing insubordinate? How do you speak up for yourself? Because some of these things that they say, even if it's not sending you on errands, there are some things that would actually be detrimental to you. Like you said, sweeping, that is totally out of your job description. How do you stand up for yourself? How do you speak up for yourself? How do you reinvent yourself, like you said, so that without appearing insubordinate or rude?
First and foremost, it has to be innate. If you are not the person that speak out, when you go to such environment, you will still not speak. I'm not I'm a very quiet person by nature. Like I can stay in a place I don't talk. But see, leadership responsibility start making me to talk, to speak, and to do this. So when you come to a particular place and things are going well, you first and foremost you do your observation. You observe. Next, you need to understand who can you speak to. How do you speak about it? Who can you engage? Most of the time in such a situation, engagement could play a good role. But however, there are some places that, like from experience, there's no matter what you engage, no matter what you do, they have decided to run that organization that way. So if you engage, you speak, you don't have to be confrontational. You can engage, look for people who make the key decisions. Sometimes document your suggestions, send it as email, seek audience to speak, and speak with politeness, with truth, and with all audacity, with confidence. They know that this guy knows what he's doing, this lady knows what he's doing. When you have done all you can and there is no headway in such an environment, just ensure that you are playing high level, such a way that you are providing the highest, best of services, your value systems are intact. Don't ever compromise, because sometimes they want you to compromise. Once you compromise one thing, they have added you to the population, to other people. Sometimes they just want to do and see what kind of standard you are. Sometimes it has cost to me in my earlier career, standing for the truth, speaking up a whole lot. But I'm not regretting some of those actions, because if you don't speak, no one else will speak. And sometimes when you speak and say that it's not going, then you begin to do your job and plan for your exit. I used to say it, there is no place you work or you are that is forever. Even though you spend 30 years there, it is not forever. You have a day you came in, and you have the day that you go. Even though you are the owner of the company, if they didn't buy it from you, you can sell it to someone, you can hand over it to someone, you can go old, you can even pass on and leave. So every one of us have a day that will come in and a day will. So don't be afraid of coming in and going out. The duration can be 2 years, can be 20 years, can be 3 years, but what is important? What is your legacy? Because you will always be remembered for two things: either the problem you solve or the problem you cause. And if you are not part of those who are solving the problem, automatically you are part of the problem. There is no room for gap. You are either solving the problem or you are part of the problem automatically. So you being in a place and doing nothing, you're part of the problem. I hope you got me in that.
I agree with you, sir. Especially when you said it's always important for you to speak up at the first instance, because it's in the human nature to push boundaries. So if somebody tells you to, if a superior at work tells you to sweep today, and you don't show any, you don't show any signs that this does not sit well with you, you do it. Meanwhile, probably you're complaining deep within you, but you just do it. Tomorrow, they are going to assign you another task, and it's going to be one that is more, will I say, demeaning than the last. It's just the way it is, and I think it also like shows up in corporate environments. But also, I think when many medical laboratory scientists are not courageous enough to speak, sometimes I feel like it's because of the background we had in school. So some people already have that struggle mindset, that survival instinct. Right from school, you are struggling to gain admission, you're struggling to make it to your final year, you are struggling to get inducted. And now you come out, you are in the job space. And obviously, you know that every year, many thousands of medical laboratory scientists are being churned into the system. So I feel like this also impacts on how some medical laboratory scientists respond to toxic work environments. I don't know if this is something that you agree with, Dr. Israel.
Okay. Yes, I quite agree on that on one lane, but it's never an excuse.
Okay.
Because I also walked through that lane. Yes, in school you struggle to do. I also did politics in school, so I can tell you the struggling as a Nmesoma president, as a member of the student union government, or in my first degree. So I can tell you that it's all struggle. So you struggle to write exam, you struggle to pass, you struggle to get things done, you struggle to get accreditation, you struggle to everything. But you see, when I was Nmesoma president in my first degree, I had an induction for my 100 level students. And I didn't raise them up with that kind of mindset. We gave them a superior mindset. You see, like when somebody tells you that you're not a medical practitioner, like, are you not daft? Like, you're in your profession, they wrote medical laboratory science, and somebody is coming to tell you that you're not a medical professional. Is that not are you not daft? Like, it's not a function of the CGPA you graduated with. So then we try as much as possible to give our students a whole lot of mindset. So we had a faculty where we had people from every other part of medicine, physiology, medicine and surgery, nursing, and all. But you see, we are outstanding from the way we do our things, and you know the truth about it, just as you said, I see discovered that today that most people in that set that will give that orientation, in fact, over 50% of them, they don't take anyhow thing outside there. Why? Because there's a saying that says a dog that will bark, it doesn't have to grow old to bark. From when the dog is small, you see him welling his tail. You know that you be careful about this dog. When this dog grows up, he's going to be brutal. So orientation matters. If someone tells you, there's a saying that says there was a story of a lion that grew up among sheep, and the lion was acting like a sheep. So until one day, the other group of lion was coming on the opposite, and he was looking at the water, drinking the water, and I saw that his face was looking like the face of those people that he had been running away from. And that's how all the sheep ran. The other lion came to pick the lion. So if you go among mediocres, people who think they are second class in the profession, people who think they are second class in the healthcare profession, people who think that their job are not relevant, people who think that, it's a leftover course, people who think that they are not important, then you grow up to know that you are not important. So your orientation is stronger than your gene. Your orientation is far stronger than your gene. Now, let me give you this example. If you have a rich man like this and a poor man, and the rich man gives birth to a son, a child, and the poor man gives birth to a child, if you take the child of the rich man at the age of 2 and give it to the poor man to raise up, You take the child of the poor man and give it to the child of the rich man to raise up. After 30 years, what will happen? The poor man's son will act and talk like a rich man. The rich man's son, because he was raised by a poor man, poor, will act lack, will talk poverty, act behave, and why? Because of what? The way he's got up. Even though even though his father is so rich, he has that gene, that background, but because of the way he's raised up, he will act and think that way. So a lot of us are in that way because a lot of people who raised us in school think less of the profession, think less of that. So they wanted to study other course. I have classmates who they give other course, medicine, surgery, other, and they left it and decided to study this. So it's not a function of the course, it's a function of what you make from the course. Who is your father? Who raised you? What orientation do you have? You can't go to a poor school. I'm just an example. You were born by poor parents. You went to a poor school. You live in a poor environment. You went to a poor church or a poor mosque. You did everything poor and you expect the person to think rich and be rich. It's not possible. So if you look at some of the cadres of people who raised these people up, we have raised them in a manner and a way that make them look like a second class, make them look inferior to others. And that's why there is a beating such. It's a function of orientation, the function of that's why every medical lab scientist who, especially in your early career days, that you want to excel, quickly get a mentor. Among other things, it will accelerate you. Isaac Newton said, if I have seen further than others, because I have stood on the shoulders who have gone ahead of me. Not everyone is suffering in the profession, not everyone is not doing well. We have a lot of people that are showing masterclass in the healthcare profession that are dominating every segment they find themselves. They are on top. So why will you choose? Why will you choose to be low? Why will you choose to act that way? You may start that way, but the good news is that you can change the trajectory. It's never too late. Even though you are 50 years old, you can. Because life is not a function of age. A function of what you know, how you're able to put what you know, and how you're able to take opportunities, and how you're able to make the most of it. So I agree with you, and I've told you the cost, and I've told you how one can change it, and I've told you the way out.
Thank you very much, sir. Yes, that answered the question. You said a very powerful thing that I think will stick with me for a really long time. The orientation is bigger than the dream, and it's very important who we take note of who we surround ourselves with, what we surround ourselves with, what we allow in our space. Thank you very much for that, sir.
I just wanted to quickly ask, sir, in your years of experience, what would you say a fair pay looks like within the context of our Nigerian workspace?
What would I say?
So do I take that again?
Yes.
Okay, I said as someone with experience, as someone with many years of experience, what would you say a fair pay is? A moderate pay? I don't know how best to rephrase this question, but maybe the minimum acceptable. Are you talking about salary? Yes, salary-wise, compensation, basically the whole package. What does it look like in our Nigerian workspace? I know it's not a direct. I'm not expecting a direct answer, but yes, if you could just give us some sort of context for the students that will be listening, or the early career people that will join the conversation.
Okay. Well, labor system in Nigeria is very poor, and it all depends on where you are actually starting from. If you are starting from a government institution, there is a salary structure, which is the current structure. So starting at the right level is what it is. So that is what the government or the structure of the Ministry of Health has said this is the society structure. But first and foremost, you must understand that as an early career person, if you don't put money in front first. If you put money in front first, you are going to miss a whole lot of it. Now the question is that money is not important. Yeah, it's very, very important, especially with the economy. Now, so there is no one fixed salary structure for anyone except in the government sector. If you are in the NGO, they could pay you according to a particular level. You can see someone who is starting as earning as 500,000, 400,000. You could see maybe in private organizations that forms a lot of the bulk of people who employ more, maybe 250, 300. But the truth about it is that the money is never enough. But what you should be looking out for is that you should be joining a system and an organization that is able to help you grow. Because even though they are paying you 1 million naira, it will still never be enough. I will discover that, for those of us that just finished our internship, when you are doing internship, immediately after your internship, after 3-4 months, you look as if they robbed you of all your money. You can't find it. To look as if you were scammed. You look as if with all the money you earn. Do you know why? Because that was the first time you are earning such amount of, maybe it could be the first. And secondly, you don't have an understanding, you don't have financial intelligence to be able to manage your money, save and invest. So to look as if you never, and you need to now start afresh. So early career is join organization, join team that will help you to grow and learn fast. If that, in my early career, I've left a company that was paying me I was working in 2 places. My combined salary then, over 13, 14 years ago, was 145,000 naira. Then, we're talking about when dollar was about 160 naira. So approximately like a few amount to $1,000. But you know that I left to join a company that was paying me 92,000 naira. Why? Because I understand joining that organization at that point in time can help me to grow. I can leverage on a whole lot of things. So I worked in that organization for about 4 years. And by the time I left, I've learned. I've opened myself to learn, unlearn and relearn. So when I left there, with a salary of let's say maybe 210,000 naira net salary. Starting from about 90,000 naira in the space of 4 years. But do you know that about 1 month later, I got a job. Let's say I worked there for 4 years and my highest salary was 210,000 naira. You multiply 210,000 naira times 12 times 4 years. It gives you an XY amount. I did a job in 2 weeks that I made more than the whole salary I was paid there. With times it with the highest number of salary I earned, times 2, times another 2 in 2 weeks. So you see, how I'm able to produce that result is a function of what I've learned all through the years. But if I've not learned, that's why I used to tell young people in career, when you are working, allow them. For you to be useful, you must allow them to use you. You must so that is your real salary. It's not the money they are paying you. If you work now, the money they paid you last month, sometimes even on the 15th of the new month, you may not even find it. But your re-earning is what you are able to learn, what you are able to grow. Your career progression, your personal development plan. This is what really defines who you are. So you can earn 500,000 as a starter, and at the end of the day, in a few years, you are nowhere to be found. And you can be in a place you are paying just 250,000 naira. But if you understand career progression, you understand personal development plan, you are building up yourself. Just give yourself a matter of time. You will be up there. So it still boils down to the individual. I don't know, because you can't, there's no money that is really at the idea, but you shouldn't be taking some ridiculous amount of money when you are working. Why you call you a professional? Somebody calls me today and said, oh, he was working in particular before and they need to use his license to do. I told them this is the standard, this is what it is. And they has even lowered the standard. So the last person who was there collected XY amount of money. He came now, they started talking to him, he lowered his standard, and they are paying lower. So when someone else comes there tomorrow, they want to price him or her down. Why? Because you have lowered the standard. Someone collected ABC. You came because you are looking for, you say, give me AB, it's okay. Tomorrow, they'll tell the other person, no, it's only A who can offer you. ABC is too much for you. And next time they'll come again, they'll tell the person, even A for Apple, you are not seeing this time. There is nothing for you. And the person will accept it. He will accept it. So that's how some of us keep laying bad legacies. There are some society, they live a particular place, they mess up that place. They all manners of habit, all manners of unprofessional practice. You say, look at them. You say, see them. How do you want them to respect you? How do you want them to respect the profession? When you go there, you mess up things, you make all manners of things, you put your hand in all manners of things just to make money, just to do a lot of sharp practices. They say that's why they will go and take a technician over you. Am I making sense? So it's not a function of what you start with, but don't go and take ridiculous amount. Nobody should be paying you 100,000 naira as a scientist, and like if the person cannot, or if the person cannot do the job, if the person that cannot pay you, then let it come and be doing the job. And some of us, it's still important to us, we that are scientists that owns lab. You see, a scientist own a lab, you'll be doing like, you carry strip, you win strip and be cutting it into three. And be using, and we'll be recycling bottles, on manners, recycling bottles, on all manners of things, and they are the one that they are professionals. So, in fact, most of all those people, we are the cause of all those things. But thank God, a lot of things are changing. A lot of people are understanding the investment. I've seen people who work even in early career, and they are traveling out. Having opportunity, people now understand that quality management system personally one of the most important resources. If you don't treat the people well, they won't treat the clients well, they won't treat the patient well. If they are not in a good working environment, they won't stay with you. I've seen a lot of professionals in this profession that people work for them 20 years, 10 years, 15 years. If they are not treating those people well, they won't be there. So it goes beyond salary. It's all about good work environment, good leadership, most importantly, because sometimes people don't live for just salary. They live because of the kind of leadership. Somebody, let's say somebody is not well 2 days, you get it, and it's off work, and if you did not call him all throughout, you did not ask about it, and when he's coming back, you're asking him, you are just asking work, no empathy. No sense of human. And you expect such, even though you're paid 500,000, and if you have the opportunity, you will move. So, as early career, join an organization that will help you to grow. A generation that has good organization culture, good work environment, places that are not toxic, and most importantly, places you can develop and grow and develop. Once you do that, the money will definitely come. That money you are looking for is in the profession, it will definitely come. But if you focus first on the money, how much you are going to pay, you just miss the whole thing. You miss the whole thing. But that doesn't mean that you should work or just take anything. Use your discretion and know what is, depending on the job description, the schedules, the organization, and what it entails.
Thank you very much, sir. I think we all have a lot to take home from everything you said. All right. I was about to put an end to this, but I think Pint has a question, so that would be the very last question we would take, and then we'll bring it up to a close. All right. You can go ahead with your question.
The question I wanted to ask is, when you've already sort of put yourself in a situation or a position that you are, being underpaid, or, being paid less than what your value actually is, how do you get out of that situation? How do you actually get out of that situation? Like practical ways to, maybe rediscuss your value with your employer or whoever it is to. I don't know whether you get the question.
Okay, you are in a situation whereby you are undervalued. And
okay, let me
that on that situation, I mean, or do you have a case scenario?
Okay, let me give a case scenario. Like, you are employed in a company and you are working with them, but at some point you look at the structure of the company and you notice that there are certain things that are not in place, that you personally, that if these things are put in place, the company will get, will have more value and will get in more profits and returns. And you discuss that with the CEO, probably the employer, and you implement it, and it starts working, but you did not ask, or you did not ask them to pay you for that service that you offered, and you continuously do the work without, being paid for it. How do you rediscuss the whole arrangement, bring it back to the table for review, so that you can actually get paid for that value you bring to the table, aside your job description from the onset?
Okay, it happened. The practical question, has happened to me, and when you are growing, the more you grow, the more you learn, and the more you learn, the more you do well. The more you do well, the more you experience better life and better outcome. So there will be a time in your career you are trying to prove yourself. So you go to a place, you want to make the place work. You do everything you need to do, and yet you are not compensated well for such processes and such work. I remember some years ago, I worked in a facility. I was the head of the facility. My education was practically doing the best. We are the best. I would like, we are the best in terms of revenue, in terms of quality, in terms of patient satisfaction, in terms of debt recovery, a whole lot of things we are actually doing. So I walked up to my boss then, and I told him or her that I want that they should increase our salary for staff. And he or she looked at me and said, go and tell your team that you should be happy that you even have a job. I said, wow. So immediately he or she said that. So I already understand. So when somebody is telling you that you should even be happy that you have a job, it's a signal already. So there'll be a time as you are working, you're trying to prove yourself, you're trying to bring a whole lot of values. But that sometimes at that point, sometimes you're going to do a lot of free jobs. Like, you may never be compensated for. But your compensation is inside of you. The ability to do something and you have gotten a result. See, the real CV is not what to write on our CV. It's not the BMLS. What result can you produce? If you have produced a result and you know how to produce that result, it means when you get somewhere, you can reproduce it. So when that happens, if you call and they didn't attend to you, or they didn't hearken to you, they didn't hear you, just know that it's part of your learning curve. But there will be a place you find yourself tomorrow. Before you do that, they will even pay for it. I've worked in an organization whereby they pay me at the end of the month. I've worked in an organization as a consultant that they pay me the first day of the month. They pay every other person the last day. But me, I'm paid on the first day of the month for the new month. So there are times that things you will do those things and it will be free. But don't allow it to discourage you. Keep learning, keep growing. Whether you are compensated now, you are not compensated. There will be a place you get to. So why on my career progression? When I started my consultancy business in 2018, I've learned the skill, I've understand some things, but I didn't know how to commercialize it. So in that period of time, so someone asked me, okay, this quality management system you are doing, how will it turn to money? How do you make money from it? I didn't have an answer because I didn't even have people who I could look up to say, okay, this is what they were doing and this is how they make money on. So I was blanked. So I decided to deviate. I started learning other skills like digital marketing, email marketing, a whole lot of things that were not related to my professional career. I paid for a group, a class. Now, that guy, I want to mention his name. He does bulk SMS for one of the political top guys. The guy used to always use election. But you see, every 4 years, he's in charge of doing his work. So I already signed his master class. Bro, I didn't learn anything, but I was inspired by his results and by his work. I told myself, if this guy can do it, this was somebody that was working in a hospital before as a record officer, and he's doing this amount of things, I too can do it. So I now learn how to market my skill, how to commercialize my skill. A lot of work I did free 15 years ago. But now you will need to, in fact, before you even have access, you will pay for it. Why? Because I've grown, I have more understanding, I know how to turn my skill into what? Into money. But there will be a time whereby you just learn to acquire that skill first. So doing that at that point in time may just be you learning it at that point in time. Learning the knowledge, gaining it. So they may not pay you. Why? Because you're in your raw value, your raw state. You're in your what? Your raw state. So people that, so just like for example now, if you're in academics, then let's say you're in a particular department, you did first degree in that department, you did second degree in that department, you did your PhD in that department. Your professors there will still be seeing you like that small boy that came to first degree. Yes, you have PhD, you also have PhD, they have PhD, but they always be looking you like, that guy that came here that day, that jam bite. So even though you're a professor, your value to them, but you need to now create a space. There's what we call the blue ocean strategy. When I read that book, there will be a time where you now need to create, you now need to leave that coverage. Are you getting it? And begin to explore other opportunities. So when you do that, you understand your value, you now know how to commercialize. That same idea, someone can decide to pay you 10x what you cannot earn as a salary for 5 years. Someone can decide to pay you at a spot just to get that same value. But the truth about it, when you were learning that thing, when you were learning it, nobody paid. Or when you were doing it initially, nobody paid. But now you are able to refine that skill, and you are presenting. You now know how to package yourself, how to package the skill, how to commercialize it. Then people will be ready to pay you. So that's why talent is not just enough. Skill is not just enough. There are a lot of, if for example now, if you want to cook soup, you say you were cooking just now before you came, you just bring out let's say you are cooking a goosey soup, melon soup, you just bring out only the melon and you start eating it. It won't give you the value. It won't give you the value. But by the time you need to add meat, add spice, add maggi, salt, and everything, vegetable, it comes out delicious. Say, wow, this is it. So you now add pounded yam to it, or you now add tofu, or you now add semo. Wow, it's a complete meal. So you need to have it as a complete meal to be able to sell, to get the right value. I don't know if that answers your question. So sometimes engaging them is fine, but if the management does not see it, or they are looking like that boy that just walked through begging for a job, they'll say after all they train you, this is this and that and that. So you need to just do it and build yourself for the future.
Thank you. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you for the answer to that question. I think we have learned a whole lot from this episode. This has been quite another interesting episode. Um, you started by letting us know that knowledge brings light, and it's very important that we understand who we are, understand where we are, know how to present ourselves, know what we want, and with that, we'll be able to excel. And also for us to know that passion is not enough. Passion is not enough. We should be ready to evolve. We should be ready to evolve. And also how important it is that we are aware of the circle, aware of our circle, the people we keep around us, the people we call our mentors. On this note, I would also want to once again mention career mentorship. For those of us on the call who have subscribe to that program, I would urge you to take it seriously. It's very important that you learn from those who have gone before you. And also, we would love to hear from you. If there's something you would like to say concerning this episode, if there's something you'd like to add, if there's any suggestion you would like to make, feel free to share with us through our social media platforms at medlabconvo and labcast@gmail.com. Also follow our website and our social media platform for future episodes, for updates. And until next time, stay informed, reinvent yourself, and be safe. Thank you once again, Dr. Israel, for joining us on this show. We couldn't have asked for a better person. Thank you so much.
Thank you. I just like to tell this last one to everyone. Yeah, especially those that are upcoming, the young ones. We need to, where there are no definitions, there are going to be deviations. So we need to define, where do you want to be in the next 2 years? Where do you want to be in the next 5 years? Where do you want to be in the next 10 years? If possible, where do you want to be in the next 20 years? You need to define it and start working towards it every day. The only future that is guaranteed is the future you create. There is no future anywhere if you don't create it. If you don't create it, you will not enjoy it. And lastly, time does not change anything. It is what we do in the process of time that changes things. So life does not get better with time. Things do not get better. In fact, with time, things get deteriorated. But the question is, what are you doing now to make the future better? Just like, for example, if you're in school, you fail a course in 100 level, you say, with time, I'm going to pass it. Bro, when you get to the final year, they will call you back to come and write that course. But if you sit down, read again, rewrite it, you pass it. So time itself does not change things. It's what we do in the process of time. I heard that word from my mentor and it changed my life. So that means I can determine where I want to be the next 5 years. I can determine where I want to be the next 10 years. Work towards it, definitely you will achieve it. Because if there is no vision, definitely you are going to perish. You may be alive, but yet you just be languishing. You just be thinking, and I know. Someone once said, and I know is the last comment of a fool. So don't be a fool. You need to wake up and take your destiny in your hands and keep moving, keep working, the only substitute for hard work is hard life. We should know that. There is no software to it. Work hard and work smart and be ready to throw out everything and know that you are a brand. When you understand this, it keeps you focused. Mike Murdoch said the reason why men fail is because of broken focus. If your focus is not broken, definitely you will be able to make the most of it. You need to be determined, you need to be disciplined, you need to be diligent, and you need to be dedicated. So thank you. You have a wonderful time.
Thank you so much, sir, for sharing that with us. Thank you, sir. All right, bye.
Thank you so much. Bye.